Happy Gemini season divas. Here is your monthly update of what's going on in the stars. Communication is a big focus this month. We had a fiery start to the astrological new year when the sun entered Aries, and last month we had a stellium, which is basically just 3 planets in one sign. Gemini season isn't going to let up. I'm going to keep this as brief as I possibly can. The next 28 days are going to shine a massive light on the ways in which we communicate with ourselves, our bodies, and with each other. It's also going to shine a light on the spread of misinformation, the rise of generative AI, but it's also going to feel playful and expansive and creative. So this is the month to really ask yourself, what does adventure look like to you? What does expansion mean to you? What does freedom look like to you? And those structures that you've been building awareness around over the last 2 months, lighting the fire, planting those seeds, letting them root down into the earth. This month is about letting them take hold so that they're ready to grow and rise and bloom and blossom over summer and the rest of the year. The key thing to remember this month is that flexibility is your friend. Rigid structures are not built to last. Flexible ones are. On the 16th of May, we have a super new moon in Taurus that then moves into Gemini the very next day. Gonna feel just as grounded as it did last month, but there's a more playful and creative vibe. On the 17th, that new moon shifts into Gemini, the same day that Mercury also shifts into Gemini, and Mercury loves being in Gemini. That is Mercury's home sign. So if communication starts to feel more comfortable, if you're starting to feel a little bit more sociable, like you want to connect with people, you want to see your friends, you want to get outside, you want to feel the sun on your face, that is because the moon and Mercury are both in Gemini at the same time. So before the 16th, give yourself a chance to rest. Let your social battery charge up because you're going to need it for Gemini season. On the 18th of May, Mars enters Taurus. That's going to bring about longevity to the initial spark that was lit in Aries season. On the 19th of May, Venus enters Cancer. This brings about a nurturing vibe, but it also brings beauty and joy and pleasure with it as well. So find the joy and find the pleasure in how you look after yourself. Think of your body, your physical body, as the structure that's holding the patterns and the behaviors that you're building more awareness around. Let your body hold them, let it nurture them so that they can grow. Flexibility means being able to pivot when things get challenging and hard. Remember, rigid structures are not built to last. Flexible ones are. The path of least resistance is not always the path to happiness. You already knew that. 4 days after the super new moon in Taurus, the sun also enters Gemini. So we have the new moon in Gemini, we have Mercury entering Gemini, and then the sun enters Gemini. So that shines a massive spotlight on how we connect with the people around us. So put yourself out there, diva, meet new people, make new friends, but charge your battery first. On the 1st of June, Mercury enters Cancer. So notice who your safe people are, the people you feel comfortable being vulnerable around, and give yourself permission to speak from the heart. 13 days later, Venus enters Leo. This makes love, sex, creative pursuits particularly fun, adventurous, and enjoyable. So go and have some fun. We cannot forget Chiron. Chiron is edging closer and closer and closer and closer to Taurus. She is getting ready to leave Aries, but she will retrograde back into Aries in September. So this next 12 months, before Chiron stations direct in Taurus on the 14th of April 2027 for the next 6 years, this next 12 months is a taste of what's to come in those 6 years from next April. And we could not have this chat without also talking about Uranus's recent ingress into Gemini after 7 years in Taurus. Uranus is the planet of the sky. It's the planet of expansion, of innovation. Just like Neptune and Pluto, Uranus is an outer planet that affects entire generations, as well as impacting us personally. And just like Neptune being the vast universal ocean of love, Uranus is this vast, expansive sky of innovation. Where Neptune is the high octave of Venus, Uranus is the high octave of Mercury. So when we look at the past movements of Uranus over the last 21 years or so, it gives us an idea of what to expect whilst Uranus is in Gemini. Uranus in Aries saw the rise of the Me Too movement, a big focus on women's rights and men being called out for their bullshit. Uranus in Taurus put an even bigger spotlight on women's rights. And we saw this over the last few years with the rise of transphobia and how women's rights and trans rights are inextricably linked. We saw more division and how we have been reduced down to our bodily parts. Uranus in Gemini shines a light on how we interact with technology and each other. With the rise of generative AI, deepfake, the next 7 years or so will shift the focus sharply onto how we interpret and engage with our perceived reality. The 9 of Wands represents fullness, ripeness, readiness. Now, if you look at this card, the person in the image, he's holding on to one of those wands really tightly. And if you look at his face, he's almost like holding on like ready for a fight, ready to go. And the 9 of Wands indicates that although you're in a great place, maybe your battles aren't over, maybe the challenge isn't quite over yet, and you still need to be ready to go. The Knight of Swords represents action, strength, and stamina. And if you look at the image, again, the person is on their horse, they are ready and raring for battle. They are, again, ready to go. Two together, they symbolize action. The swords are very much connected to our voice, to communication, to logical thought. It's the air element, connected very much to the Shuddhi chakra. And so when we think of Knight of Swords, we think about ambition, a thirst for knowledge. It's like you've come to the end of a part of your journey in this quest for knowledge, but the real journey of how you implement it into your life, how you maybe share that knowledge with other people, that is just beginning. Then we have the Queen of Swords. And look at her. She's resting. She has her sword, but she's chill. She's like, I know who I am, queen. I, yes, still have a thirst for knowledge, but I'm comfortable in the knowledge that I have. Again, it's about communication, but in relation to your relationships, being able to be vulnerable, being able to be honest, and speak your truth from the heart with kindness, and safe in the knowledge that you can do so without judgment, without being shot down, without being told you're wrong or you're selfish or whatever, knowing that you can speak your truth calmly and have a very honest conversation about your relationship with whoever that may be with. The 3 of Pentacles. The number 3 is about expression. It's about collaboration. Pentacles represents the earth element. It's connected to Muladhara chakra, our root chakra, closest connection to Mother Earth. And The pentacle suit is connected to our connection to material things. So be that money and finances, how we feel stable and secure in our lives at the moment. The Three of Pentacles is about collaboration. It's about community. It's about the ways in which we show up for the people around us, the people that we love, whether we know them or not, but we know that they're a part of our community. So these 4 cards are very telling for Gemini season. Here is a hand mudra that you can use throughout this month. If you are feeling like you really need to tap into your inner wisdom and trusting of yourself and your own intuition, you're going to take Netra Mudra. We do this in our practice this month as well. We're going to take our ring finger and our pinky and draw it in towards the palm of the hand, extending middle finger, index finger and thumb. You can do this on both hands. I don't find it very easy, so if you, like me, don't find it too easy either, you can bring the thumb over the top. It does make it a different mudra, but the intention is what counts. Palms up to the knees, and Netra Mudra is about the inner wisdom, trusting your inner intuition. So notice, we have the ring finger and the pinky drawing inwards. That is about drawing inwards and trusting that inner wisdom. Middle finger, index finger and thumb are extending outwards. That is about knowing that you can see the wood for the trees. That is about knowing and trusting your inner wisdom is guiding you towards the right thing. That is about knowing that you can see beyond the physical. And so when you take your hand mudra, close your eyes and allow yourself to be silent, have some peace and some quiet, find the answers within you so that you can implement them into your everyday life.